Hello? Nope, it's not on. Where's the... Well, it's not working. But it's not working. So it's not on the other side. Waiting on the sound. It's not wanting. It is not on. It is not on. It is on. Hello? No, 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 no. Okay. Good. Good evening. If I could get everyone to their seats. On behalf of the Hall of Fame Committee, my name is Roy Reed. I'd like to invite everybody to join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you would stand, and I'm going to ask the Honor Guard to carry forward.
Honor Guard, attention, forward, march. Honor Guard, hold, left face, present colors.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order, colors. Right face, forward, march.
You may be seated. Let's give the Honor Guard a big hand. That was awesome. And at this time, I would like to invite Isaiah Carlton up. Isaiah is going to be welcoming everybody this evening and is the newly elected president of the board. Let's give him a big hand for that. In fact, he is the sole remaining member of the original board of directors established in 2014. It's a 1977 Pioneer graduate. Isaiah was a two-sport athlete, earning 5 varsity letters. A 2-year defensive back and a 3-year sprinter, Isaiah was a contributor to the first ever school's history 1977 boys track team state championship. This just goes on and on, bro. The owner of Creative Photo Images, he oversees the Hall of Fame Awards program, including the design of the permanent home located in the basketball gymnasium hallway. In 2020, Isaiah was the recipient of the Dr. Leanne Bradshaw Trailblazer Award. Please welcome Isaiah.
I am not going to be up here very long because all I'm going to do is welcome you here, that we're going to have a great night. I love looking at all these faces, and we got some inductees coming in that one I actually played ball with. So I'm eager to see him if he's here. But with all said and done, welcome, welcome, welcome. I really enjoyed this moment, and there's 6 inductees coming in that honor of grace. Got it. Okay. My board of directors, where are they? I want to acknowledge those guys for making this event possible. If you are a board director member, please just stand and wave your hand so they will know who you are. Even though this is just a once-a-year event, a lot of work goes into it. We get a lot of not so good news and people say, well, why did I not get inducted? Well, when you have a lot of great, even though this is just a once a year event, a lot of work goes into it. We get a lot of not so good news and people say, well, why did I not get inducted? Well, up until right now, 2025, I mean, Oak Ridge has a legend of athletes. We dominated track and field, we dominated football, we dominated tennis, we dominated swimming. Our golf was superb from that is a lot of legends and a lot of records. We're pretty much being broken every single year. So we do have some that are still there, but they're falling so fast because these students coming up right now that are becoming true athletes, the speed, the talent that they have is incredible. So if you're not a supporter of Oak Ridge coming out to the games, please come out. We need you because some of that talent you're going to see on the field or on the track or on the court, you will be seeing them in this same room in a few years. So come out and help us. I also want to he's just going to wave his hand with two people, the current commander-in-chief at Oak Ridge High School, Mr. Dennis Gonzalez, the principal, and my second commander-in-chief, athletic sports, the AD, Mr. Sylvester Edwards. Okay, with further ado, I want to also acknowledge Ventura for having us host this meeting again here this year. And if any of you guys play golf, we got a golf tournament next month, but let us know. It's not too late to get your clubs out and come on out. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's have a great night.
Good job. Well, this is one of my favorite events every year to come to. It's nice to see people every year. It's good to see people, new faces each year as well. And this evening we've got another returning guest. And it's my pleasure to introduce La Fiesta Cox Brown, a fellow 1983 graduate from Oak Ridge High School. She was a two-sport athlete, basketball and a 3-year letter winner in track. She was a member of the first ever girls state track championship team in 1981. After becoming a nationally registered radiology technologist, La Fiesta attended Valencia College before moving on to Edward Waters College in Jacksonville, earning her baccalaureate degree in 1999. She was ordained as an iterant elder in September of 2006. She is married to her high school sweetheart, Vincent Brown, a 1981 Oak Ridge graduate who earned 2 varsity letters as a member of the basketball team. La Fiesta and Vincent have been married 39 years. Congratulations. They have 3 children and 4 grandchildren. Currently, La Fiesta is the pastor of historic St. James AME Church in Sanford, Florida. In addition, she is a member of the Women in Ministry for the Daytona Beach District of the African Methodist Episcopal Church. Please welcome La Fiesta Cox Brown.
Thank you. Before I offer the prayer, I just want to take this moment to say how grateful I am to be in this room with all of you. And I never thought that I would be here. True enough, being an athlete, but you have to give it to your coaches. There was no greater coach for women track and field in the 80s like Coach Stanford. I wish he could be here tonight. But he knew how to get points on the board. I was not the best in any of them, I was like the sixth man. They needed me on the 440 relay, I was the sixth man. They needed me in the 8A run, I was the man. They needed me on the long jump, high jump, pole vault, whatever you needed, I was there. And so even hurdles, the bus never left the school without me. And so I'm so grateful for this honor. And I'm glad to see all your faces. Let us pray. Father God, we thank you for the opportunity, God, to celebrate tonight. We thank you for your goodness and your grace upon each of us. Thank you for the love that is shared in this room tonight. And we thank you for all the inductees that have been, will be tonight, and shall be in the future. We thank you for all that you have done to allow this organization to look beyond itself and to be a blessing to so many, reaching so many in this group. We thank you. We ask you to bless this food that we're about to receive and let it be a nourishment to our bodies. And we thank you for the perseverance and the endurance and the teamwork that we have gathered over the years because of what we have learned through sports. We thank you, Father God, in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much. Well, there's the alarm. It's time to eat. Enjoy your dinner. Thank you for that. Good. Well, look, to start the program, if you are a current member of the Oak Ridge High School Hall of Fame, would you please stand and be recognized? Go ahead, come on. Don't be shy. Big hand. All right. Thank you for that. It is my pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker, and I will ask her to begin to make her way up here as I read the introduction. Our keynote speaker tonight is Elizabeth Liz Hickman. Liz, there we go. Liz, or as she was called by her teammates, Peanut, is a 1977 Pioneer graduate and a 2022 Hall of Fame inductee. She was a two-sport athlete, playing on the first ever girls basketball and slow pitch softball teams in Oak Ridge High School history. In her first, go ahead. In her first year at Metro competition, Peanut was a starting point guard on the 1975 undefeated Metro Conference Championship team, and a 3-year starter. Liz earned all Metro honors as a senior. Liz was also a 3-year starter at shortstop, earning all Metro honors in softball. In her senior year, she led the Pioneers to the school's first ever district and regional championships. Good job. A member of the National Honor Society, Elizabeth earned a law degree from the University of Florida and practiced law for 25 years. She returned to school and earned a nursing degree and went on to teach nursing for 5 years. Please welcome Elizabeth Hickman.
I was worried this podium was going to be higher than I was. Thank you. That was really nice. You didn't have to say that 25-year part, though. Feels like yesterday. Good evening, fellow pioneers. Go Oak Ridge. You know, I got a call from Coach Hemmer a few months ago, and he was being all his charming self. You know how Coach Hemmer can be, right? And I was just like, all right, what's he want? And how am I going to say no? In a nice way, because I just knew he wanted something, right? Well, I couldn't have been more surprised when he asked me to speak and be the keynote speaker. And thank you, Coach Hemmer, for that vote of confidence to the Hall of Fame committee who asked me to do it. And of course, I was trying to talk my way out of it, like, you know, there's got to be somebody. else who can do this because I wasn't sure I was going to be able to, pull it off. But thank you again. And I just couldn't have more pride in being able to do this for you all. So again, thank you, Coach Hemmer. So I have no idea where my speech is going to go because as I was telling Coach Hemmer, I just kept rewriting it and rewriting it and rewriting it because I'm a Virgo. Anybody Virgo in the room here? It's got to be perfect, right? Right? Okay? So even this morning, after I thought it was perfect yesterday, I got up this morning and kept rewriting it and kept rewriting it. So I'm going to cheat and refer to my notes here because I haven't memorized my speech. But anyway, I promise to do my best to keep this brief, okay? So having said that, let me just jump right into it and just say that, when I was young, especially for those of you newer athletes, younger athletes who are here tonight, I want to make it clear to you that back when I played, and many of my teammates played, we grew up in a generation where women weren't encouraged to play sports, right? Everybody remember that? Some of you probably young enough to remember that. That girls were supposed to do what? We were supposed to go to school to learn how to be what? Good wives, mothers, caregivers. And the boys were supposed to be what? The providers. Women were supposed to stay home and have babies. So the idea of women being able to play sports, look how far we've come in 50 years. Ladies, give yourselves a hand. This is fantastic. And I was honored to watch you ladies do this. And I'm going to be honored to watch you to continue to excel. Look at the players that we have today in the WNBA, in softball. I mean, it's incredible. So good job. And I don't want to take anything away from the men, but this is our chance now. Right? But anyway, so I grew up in that kind of era where girls were discouraged from playing sports. In fact, I don't remember a school until I got to high school where they had any organized teams of any kind for women to play. And so I remember clearly when I went to junior high, we were actually living in Texas because I was an Army brat. We traveled around a lot. And so I remember they made us take home economics. Anybody remember those days? Yes. Not that I want to out the older ladies and the men and the women. But ladies went to home economics and boys went to what? Shop. Wood shop, right? Now, I'm going to tell you, I learned how to make lemon meringue pie and a dress when we had to go down to the Woolworths and buy a pattern so that we could do it on that thing called a sewing machine. Remember that thing? Well, let me just say I have not made lemon meringue pie or sewed a dress since that day. Okay? Now, boys, of course, got to go to shop, and, well, they really should have called that how to work with dangerous things that lead to injuries and near-death experiences. But nevertheless, I remember going, well, why can't I do that? I want to learn how to do that stuff that those guys are doing, right? Why can't we do that? And again, we've come a long way in school now where what? Men can do home economics if they want to, and women can do shop. So again, in less than what? Half a century, how far we've come, right? But I thank God for my brothers. I grew up with all brothers, and my mom had one sister, and she had 4 boys. So I grew up in what? Around all the boys. And I'm thankful for that for a number of reasons, but basically that's where I learned how to play sports. Was playing with my brothers and his friends, right? Because we didn't get that in school. We didn't get to play it in school. And, not to brag, but I was actually better than a lot of my brother's friends, right? And I remember one time one of the coaches in baseball, because remember he was talking about how I played softball, and I learned that from playing baseball. And I remember one of the coaches actually came up to my father and said, "Can we cut her hair and get a birth certificate from her younger brother so that she could play on the team?" And I was like, yeah, Dad, come on, let's do it. Well, my dad, being the military guy, straight-laced guy, was like, nope, sorry. And I remember being really upset. But anyway, I got to go and practice with all the boys, and I think that was great. And it was a great skill it set me on a path that, I was able to play softball and do the things that I really enjoyed doing. And I think I was just a little ahead of my time for wanting to do that. But I just learned from my brothers, and I hung out with the boys, and I wasn't going to be deterred, right? I was going to play the games that the boys played, right? And I was going to fight for it. So I guess I was in my first early days of feminism and, let's get the girls in there and let the girls play, because they can play pretty good, right? And it took us how many years to convince guys? Look at the games now. Is anybody watching the ladies softball games now? I think they're into that. They're filling the stadiums. People are coming of all ages are coming to these games, and that's big time. And the basketball, I can't even say enough about that, right? Look what Clark has done for the game, and not just Clark, right? Just tremendous amount of women playing this game that are just incredible. I don't think I could play against them or with them, if I were playing today, and my knees still worked. But whatever the motivating factors, in terms of playing sports, I think what was great about being able to play sports, first and foremost, is it was fun. And that's what sports are supposed to be, right? It becomes so serious nowadays that we forget that this is supposed to be fun. We're supposed to play sports and have fun. And it's become so competitive now that sometimes we need to get back to the basics and remind our kids about sportsmanship, right? When I look around and I watch, and I do like to watch sports, I'm not going to lie, and I watch my football games, and how many times you see the player on the ground and nobody helps the player up that's on the other team. And that was just like unheard of when I was growing up. This was a game, these were sports, and if somebody was on the ground, you just put your hand down and helped them up. It didn't matter that they had a different uniform on. But now look at it. It's disappointing, but we got to get back to those basics, guys, and we got to remember that for sports, not only was it fun, right? But what I liked about it was I got out of the house and I didn't have to do chores with my mother, because my mother was always making me do the housework and chores. So I got out of doing that. But sports also kept me in shape, right? So that was good. And we were just talking about that at the table, about how the kids today, a lot of kids today, not the people sitting here today, you chose to be athletes and you're in good shape and you're making an effort. But a lot of our kids are doing what? They're not getting out and they're not exercising. And that's critical. It's so important, not just for your physical well-being, but for your physical well-being, right? And your health for the future. But anyway, so some of the most important lessons that we learn for life were learned playing sports. Would anybody agree? Yeah. Right? I mean, we learn how to cooperate, work together to achieve a common goal, right? How to overcome adversity. I was lucky to play at Oak Ridge where we didn't lose very much because I don't like losing. But every now and then we lost to, what was that school that we don't want to say their name out loud? Boo! All right. When we lost to Boone, that was the one that, oof, oof, oof. How to overcome adversity, how to handle pressure, right? Sports teach you how to deal with that, how to handle pressure, how to appreciate and respect yourself, and more importantly, respect others on the other teams, your own team, but also on the opposing team. Learn sportsmanship, right? Win or lose, always do it with grace, right? Always do it with grace, and be humble. And then, of course, how to develop friendships, some that have lasted how many years? I'm not going to say it out loud, but you know who you are back there, right? And more importantly, how to listen and how to communicate. And we learn all that from sports. Not just from sports, right? But there's a lot that we learn. And sports is critical for any program, anywhere, okay? Now, I have to think that today my mother's smiling down on me tonight from heaven. And I'm so grateful that she didn't fuss so much when I wanted to play sports, because that's just not something our generation did. Instead, my mom, now I'm not going to say she encouraged it. Okay? I'm not going to go that far, right? Because she was from that generation of, girls just don't play sports. It's not feminine. It's not appropriate, right? But so I had a little bit more progressive thinking mom in those times where she didn't discourage it. And she knew anyway I was just going to sneak out and go play with my brothers anyway. I'd find a way to get out of that house because as soon as I saw her coming down the hall with that vacuum cleaner, I was like, phew. Okay. But so I'm sure we all agree that we learn a lot from our parents, our parental figures, other figures in our lives like our grandparents, our friends, peers, religious leaders, educators, right? But as athletes, I think we're most influenced by what? The coaches that we've had in our years, correct? I think most athletes would agree that the biggest influence that you have, because you're spending all your time where? Practicing and playing and spending time with the coaches. And I've been blessed enough, as I hope all of you have, to have had some wonderful, wonderful coaches in my life. So I just wanted to shout out to the memory of Coach Sack. I don't know if anybody here remembered Coach Sack. Was the very first coach who coached the first girls basketball team at Oak Ridge High School back in 1974 and 75. Okay? Now, I know it might not be politically correct to say girls, so if that offended anybody, I apologize, but that's what we were called back then, right? The Oak Ridge High School girls basketball team. So please, take that in the spirit that I mean it. I don't mean any offense in using the term girls, okay? But women's sports, I'll say women when I can, all right? It's just come a long way, and I know for many of you here tonight, that may not have as much meaning as it has for some of the people in my generation. Like I said, where I talked about, that we didn't have these programs, that if we played, a lot of times it was just with our friends in the neighborhood. Pickup games, we called them, right? No matter what it was. And we played until it was dark and we couldn't see the ball. Does anybody remember that? Yeah. Remember that? I remember, Elizabeth, time for dinner. All right, Mom. Yeah, okay, right? And then what, 15 minutes later, I'm still holding the bat, playing baseball. We could barely see it. They were throwing it at me, and I was trying to figure out how to hit it because I wasn't sure if that was the ball or something else coming my way. Then I'd hear, Elizabeth, and then it became Elizabeth Ann Hickman. As soon as you got the full name, that's when you went on, right? Because then the next voice you were going to hear was whose voice? Dad's voice, right? You didn't want to hear Dad's voice, right? Military dad? When you heard that, so when you got the full name from Mom, that's when you're like, pew, all right? So people remember that, or am I just speaking to a crowd that's like, what is that crazy old lady talking about? Okay? But I remember, I just want to bring some things to your attention. Again, not criticizing or complaining, just reminding some people about what it was like when we, as girls, wanted to play sports. And I remember the girls' teams were always what? Second, right? We were always second behind the varsity or junior varsity boys' teams. Because again, remember, we lived in that time when boys could become what? Professional athletes. And many of them aspired to do that, right? And the schools had programs to what? Encourage that. Because the men were supposed to be the providers, and the women were supposed to marry one of those providers, right? But, there were times when we couldn't get the gym because there was only one gym, right? And if the boys had to practice the varsity and then the junior varsity, and if there was volleyball, because a lot of times those sports would overlap, right? It would just be a fight to get the gym. And we didn't care. We would play outside, on the basketball courts outside. We were thankful enough to get parents and volunteers to drive us over to Howard or Cherokee, where they were nice enough to let us use the gym. And we were roughing it, as we said, but we never thought of it that way at the time, right? Looking back, we could see that. So again, like I'm saying, I'm not complaining. I'm just trying to get you all to have a sense of what it was like. It was just a different time, and I'm so, so happy to see that while women still struggle with what? Saying pay, okay? Want that pay, right? We've come so far, and I couldn't be prouder, really. But having done all that, do y'all remember having to do car washes, bake sales? Kids still doing that today, right? It's kind of fun to see that. How many of you pull over and let the kids wash your car, and then you go down the street to Octopus and let them clean it after? Right? But I remember having countless car washes, bake sales, and my favorite, selling Krispy Kreme donuts. Yes. 10 cents a piece. 10 cents! Now I'm showing my age. Can you imagine a Krispy Kreme donut costing 10 cents? How many donuts you think I sold? I was eating those donuts through the entire school day. And I would be looking at my lunch money going, I got $1.20, now I got 75 cents left, and I could still get lunch. Right? Okay, I'm showing my age. But boy, those Krispy Kreme donuts were the bomb. And they're still the bomb. They are still the bomb. Oh, yeah. But anyway, so, and finally with Coach Sack, one thing that I remember her doing was loading a bunch of us in the car in between. Do you guys remember what year it was, between junior or senior year? She took some of us in her own car, and we drove to a basketball camp in York, Pennsylvania, and spent a week there. And I know that she was spending some of her own money, in hindsight, to do that for us. And I'm really, really appreciative of that because it really paid off. And when we got up there, it was humbling, to say the least, because we were starting to get a little cocky. You know, we'd gone all undefeated, right? We thought nobody could beat us. And I got up to that basketball camp, and I was like, there were women like 6 feet tall back then. Now, that was tall. That might not be tall today, right? Because I don't know where they're growing these athletes today, but they're all like 7 foot tall, even the women, right? Could you imagine me trying to play that? No, I'd be like, it's just, there's no way. But anyway, I remember her driving us all the way up to Pennsylvania. I don't know where she stayed for the week that we were up there, because the coaches weren't allowed to stay at the camp with all of the rest of us. But I just want to say to her, and I'm sorry that she's already gone, but I have a feeling she's watching. Thanks to coaches like her and their dedication and perseverance, have made and paved the way for the women today, and will continue to do that, I'm convinced. Right? So may Coach Sack rest in peace. Thank you, Coach Sack. Now, again, like I said, I don't want y'all thinking I'm complaining. We were lucky to have Coach Damron there. Bless his heart. God bless him as well. I think he's just recently departed. I think you see in the program there. What a tremendous, tremendous coach he was. And he was so positive all the time, always wanting to help the women. Always giving us tips. Hey, Peanut, come here. And I know he did it with all of us. And we were privileged enough to get to practice with the guys on occasion. And I really think that improved our game tremendously, to be able to play with the guys, and they give us so many tips. And we got so much faster and better because of it. And so my hat's off to not only Coach Damron, but some of the players. If you're here tonight, I don't know who's here tonight from back in my day, but thank you to all of you that allowed us to learn from you. So we're very, very appreciative of that. So being here tonight, being honored with all of my teammates from back in 1974 and 75. Sorry, just saying that out loud is, I just can't believe it. I'm still in total denial. There's just no way. 1900 and something, right? But it means more than I can put into words, and I really appreciate it. It's just so hard to think those good times were almost half a century ago. Wow, I'm old. Dang, when did that happen? Jeez. All right, but thinking back on the first Oak Ridge High School girls basketball team, we were talking about this earlier tonight too. I can truly say to this day, that I've never played with a team that had so much talent. Anybody remember Rennie Smith? Again, I'm sorry for those of you who are younger, but I'm sure that people talked about our Oak Ridge team for years and years. And also, Rennie Smith was like Clark is today, I think. She was so ahead of her time and so talented. And it's no wonder that with people like Rennie Smith, St. Bruton, who's also an inductee, I had the privilege of playing with St. Bruton, who went on to play professional ball. And I think she's still actually kind of kicking it around here. She couldn't make it tonight because I think she told me she had shoulder surgery, Coach Emmer. So she couldn't make it down from Atlanta, and I'm real disappointed about that, but I know she's here in spirit with us, celebrating. But we were so good, and I guess you're going to maybe hear about it a little bit later on, I'm not sure, but so I don't want to give away a lot of stuff. But we blew people away, and I'm not just saying that sounding bragging or whatever. We had scores where we were beating teams by 40, 50 points. Everybody was playing. We were sort of, trying not to run up the score on some teams, but we were just that far ahead and that more in talent compared to the other people in the league. And so it's hard when trying to just impress that upon you guys to understand. And it got to, and I learned this from Coach Berg later, that nobody wanted to play us. They had trouble finding teams that wanted to play us the next year because we went totally undefeated. And we whooped people. And we didn't want to. We were just like, take me out, I'm tired, let somebody else play. And we'd just go slow and not run up the court. And it was just that disparity at that time. And really, I heard that they had some trouble finding people that wanted to play Oak Ridge. And when they heard it was like, do you want to play Oak Ridge? And we were calling around to get on the schedule. They couldn't get people to agree to play us. And we were actually, calling in favors, right? I heard this from Coach Berg afterwards, calling in her favors, calling in all our friends. Come on, come on, come on. But I just think, sadly, we didn't have a district, a regional, or a state at that time. And I really feel strongly that if we had, that we would have won it. We would have won it all. Wouldn't that have been something? The very first Oak Ridge High School girls basketball team and state champions. Wouldn't that have been fantastic? And I think it would have happened. I really do. And I'm sorry that it didn't. But it's okay, right? We move on in life and we learn from it. So that team is being recognized tonight, and rightfully so. These women were pioneers in the truest sense of the word. Oak Ridge, not just Oak Ridge pioneers, but pioneers, right? Setting and blazing a trail for others to follow, opening those doors that had been closed for so long, right? And as far as I'm concerned, all of those players on that team should be inducted into this Hall of Fame because they were the original Oak Ridge High School Pioneers girls basketball team. That is historic. And nobody can take that away from us, ever. Okay? And it makes me feel a lot like, did y'all ever see that movie? I like movies, but I'm not going to share much movies with you. A League of Their Own? Y'all ever watch that movie? Y'all got to watch that. A League of Their Own. Gina Davis, right? Now, that was about the women who came forward in World War II, right, to entertain because all the men were out at war fighting. So they created the first women's professional baseball team. And these ladies came together and played baseball, and the fans started to love it, and the fans went crazy, right? And they were like, a lot of them recognizing, man, these women can play some ball, right? But then as soon as the men came back from the war, what happened? Women went back to doing what women were doing back in those days. But it's an incredible movie. And, this induction, or honoring, rather, these players from that team makes me feel a lot like probably those women would have felt, okay? And then I know I'm going to wrap it up because I'm getting the hook, right? I told you I was going to be brief, but there's one other coach here that I want to say a special thank you to, and that's Coach Berg, who's here tonight. And I say that because when Coach Sack left us to go to where? High School. Coach Burke stepped up. She came in and she just stepped up to the challenge with grace. And if any of you know Coach Burke, what a classy coach she is, and what a great person she is. Always upbeat, always positive attitude. And she just did a phenomenal job. So please recognize Coach Burke there in the back of the room. Sorry, Coach. How you doing? And last but not least, I think the most important influence for those who were young, right, and kids in school were our teammates. right? And had the most influence on us in playing. And in fact, a couple of them are here tonight. You didn't think I was not going to recognize you guys, did you? Debbie Perry and Renee Walker. Two phenomenal players, two phenomenal women. And I hope to see them in this Hall of Fame one day soon. So to all those women, were so talented, ahead of their time, and I gotta say, I love them even more for giving me my nickname, Peanut. That has stuck with me for close to 50 years now. There are people who don't know my name, Liz. They're just like, oh, Peanut, Peanut. I was getting called out Peanut tonight. Hug, come over and give me a hug. And I bet you when somebody was calling Liz, they're like, who's that? Who's Liz? And I'm gonna tell you, to this day, my older brother, he's never called me by my name since Oak Ridge High School days. I've always been called Peanut. That's incredible. So thank you, ladies, for giving me that nickname, because it's really stuck with me over the years. So I've taken up enough of your time. Sorry, I promised to be brief, but it's hard to be brief when these girls were so talented. So thank you. God bless you.
Stay right here. Thank you very much. I'm going to ask Liz to stay up here, and Coach Himmer is going to grab our next award. And I'm going to invite Jalen Reese to come up here. This is a very special moment. We give out 2 awards. We give out 2 awards in addition to the Hall of Fame induction, and the first is the Reese Laughlin Scholar Athlete Award. And I'm going to read a little bit about our winner this year. The Oak Ridge High School Athletic Hall of Fame is honored to announce that Jalen Reese is the 2025 recipient of the Reese Laughlin Scholar Athlete Award. Jalen is a highly gifted and skilled basketball player. He's a 4-year letterman who carries a 3.48. Nice job. And he ranks 57 out of class of 542. Program. Jalen has committed community service projects every year of his high school career, including the Christmas gift giving to children and the turkey drive programs. As a McDonald's All-American and nominee in a 4-year starter, Jalen, the Metro Conference East Player of the Year, was a driving force in leading the Pioneers to state runner-up, second in region, second in district, and there are 2 regions, 2 districts, and 4 Metro East championships. During his career, the team also played several national tournaments, winning the Iolani Tournament Championship in Hawaii last year. That was a rough trip, wasn't it? Man. Upon graduation, Jalen will attend LSU on a basketball scholarship. Please give him a hand. Family, you want to come up and get a picture? Here.
Do I even reach your shoulder? Ready? 1, 2. You want to get out?
Oh, sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Now, I'm going to invite the man, the myth, the legend, the reason we're all here, the guy that sends me scripts early on, makes sure that the date's on the schedule, and sweats this thing out every year. Let's give a big hand to Coach John Hemmer.
This is going to be real tough for me because I'm from Brooklyn and I need 2 hands to talk. And I got some paraphernalia and I got to hold this thing. Roger, I might have to have some help from you, all right? Liz, you said everything I was going to say. Oh, Liz, you said everything I was going to say. We don't number the pages because we save money when we do the programs, but if you look in the program opposite the girls' basketball team that you've already fallen in love with, it says the highlights of the 1960s. And what this is all about, the Hall of Fame is going to make an announcement tonight. Over a month ago, maybe longer than that, I guess, during the girls' basketball season, Michael Driver called me and said, this girl, mother, I don't remember her name, scored 33 points. Is that the school record? I said, I coach track. I don't know. They couldn't find anything, so we started searching. Well, she mentioned Renee Smith. We found articles. They played 12 games. In 3 of them, she scored over 30 points 3 times. They didn't say the number. The article just said 30 points 3 times when she did it the 3rd time. We did find out that Jonette Benjamin in 1983 went for 45, so that's the school record. The young lady, I think, Michael told me about was 33, so that's the school record. But at that time, we started talking because everybody talks about the fact that a lot of our memorabilia and our history, when they bulldozed the school in 2010, they took it all with them. Guys call all the time. Again, Coach, what about that Winter Park game when I had the winning touchdown? You got film? No, it's in the dump, in the dump. And so our new president, with Caesar, said we need to create and bring back the history of Oak Ridge High School in an athletic journal. But we're not going to do it as one, we're going to do it by decades. And what you see in the pamphlet here is just the beginning of what happened in 1960s, in the 60s. And we gathered about 7 or 8 former athletes, some are in the Hall of Fame in the 60s, some are not, to start trying to recall, and then we'll put Caesar on it because if it's in ink somewhere in print, he'll find it. And so we've started, it's been about a 6-7 month, we've had 2 Zoom calls with this group, and we are working on this athletic journal in the 60s. When we get back home after this banquet, we're going to gather a group from the 70s and start on that. This is not a short-term project. This is going to be a long-term project because we're going to add a decade a year. It's going to take us 6 years to get to the decades of where we are now. But it's not just who scored the most points or who did this, who did that. It's other aspects of what happened athletically at Oak Ridge High School as you can kind of read through the ones we have. The thing is, when Oak Ridge started, you had to know that this was going to be a school of athletes because in the second item there, 1962, Frank Ainsworth is scoring 53 points in a basketball game. Think about that now. 53 points, no 3-point shot, and the game back and then was walk the ball up, pass it 6 times, everybody touch it and score. This guy is scoring 53 in a game. The guy after him, 3 no-hitters in 1 season. Are you kidding? We haven't had 3 no-hitters at Oak Ridge in 60 years. He did 3 in 1 year. He went on to play professional baseball also. But there is some really good stuff here. We're going to have Chris Bono up here shortly. We're going to talk about him, an intercepted pass. When he did that in 1976, he went 83 yards. In case you didn't remember that, Chris. And we said, hey, what's the record? Well, there was no record. So we said, you're the record holder. The next year when Gary Henry went 86 yards, Chris, you're off the board, Gary, you're in. And about 5 years ago, when Michael Driver didn't come tonight, Oak Ridge player went 99 yards for a pick 6. So, but, Chris, you weren't the record holder because, not in the book because we didn't have enough space for this. I'm going to say it right here. 1966, Charlie Dent, 97 yards, pick 6 to win the ball game against Evans High School in the 4th quarter. So here's a young man who went 97 yards with a pick 6 and nobody knew about it until we started researching. So hopefully we'll have some really, really good stuff, and it'll be digital, and as we move on, there'll be printed volumes of it. The next 3 pages are the 3 girl teams that were the first in the Metro Conference. As Liz took all my thunder, 1972, after the Olympics in 72, is when Congress passed Title IX. But it took them 3 years to get it figured out. That's kind of like Congress, right? So 3 years, but 75, and you have the 3 Metro Championship teams from 75. Now, we're in the springtime, but we're not here in the fall, so we're recognizing the girls basketball team the girls volleyball team and the girls cross-country team. And you can see that with Liz and with Cynthia Bruton, we were able to really find some stuff, and that was in newspapers. That was important. Basketball was important. As you turn the 2 pages, we know that the volleyball team was 11-0. We know who the MVP was, but hard finding girls. You all change your name when you get married. You ought to change that and keep your own name. And then we have the Metro Conference girls cross-country team, and there is nothing in the Orlando Sentinel about that Metro Conference championship meet. I mean, so that, when Liz was talking about how tough it was, hey, they're doing this stuff, and they're not even writing about it, how the yearbooks were kind of not so good back then either, as far as taking on this. So we are working on this. It is a work in progress. Liz, you, Deborah, and Renee, we have a memento for you up here for the teams that you played on back in 1975. So after the program, do not leave. We have something up here for you. And so please, do not leave, because we don't have enough money to mail it to you. And if you have a complaint, Isaiah's sitting right over here. He did it.
Thanks, Coach.
Now, we're talking about pioneer history. This happened last week. There's a young man here on the boys track team. Track is good. Jaden Santos Gonzalez. Please stand up. Jaden. Jaden is a distance runner, anywhere from the 800 up to the 3200. He's got good range. At the district meet last week, for 1600 meters, he ran 4:18:91. The school record for 1600 was set in 1994 by Dominic Adamson at 4:21 flat. So he breaks the 1600 record. We live in America and we run in yards and we throw feet and inches, but we got to run meters and throw in centimeters and all that stuff. So in 1989, when they changed to meters, we started keeping those records. But he's going to be inducted tonight. The school record holder for the 1 mile run was John Threlkill with a time of 4:20.7. But there's a conversion. The mile is further than 1600 meters, but the conversion is 1.7, which brings him to 4:19 flat. So he broke that record also. That's the man right there. At this time, I would turn the mic back to Roy, who would introduce Dr. Leanne Bradshaw for the presentation of her award. Dr. Bradshaw has a family situation in the state of Mississippi. She had to miss tonight, so we're going to kind of change routine here for just a little bit. Roy, a 1983 grad, and those of you coming here for the first time, as you look at the program, you can see the people who do all the talking, except for me, are Oak Ridge graduates. And the year they graduated, well, Roy was a football wrestler at Oak Ridge, graduated in 83, went on to UCF, did well there, big time in business, and last year he was the Dr. Bradshaw Trailblazer Award winner, so we're going to ask him to present the award. The Oak Ridge High School Athletic Hall of Fame is honored to announce Emory Norris as the 2025 recipient of the Dr. Leanne Bradshaw Trailblazer Award, presented to the individual who has unselfishly given of his or her time and energy to ensure the Athletic Hall of Fame fulfills its mission. Emory, a graduate of North Miami High School, becomes the second recipient in the 7-year history of the Trailblazer Award not to have graduated from Oak Ridge. Having spent 18 of his 29 years in Orange County Public Schools at Oak Ridge as a coach, administrator, dean, and athletic director, Emory, he bleeds green and gold. Since the inception of the Athletic Hall of Fame, Emory has been there to ensure the success, conducting the unveiling of the permanent plaque, the school assembly, which are held earlier in the day prior to the banquet. Emory also took it upon himself to maintain the Hall of Fame banners that hang in the gymnasium hallway. He also served as the chairman of the Reese Lofton Scholar Athlete Award Nomination Committee for 7 years. His final act of service before moving on to Liberty Middle School was giving the welcoming comments at the 2023 induction banquet. On behalf of the Oak Ridge Athletic Hall of Fame Board of Directors, thank you, Emory. Emory is unable to be here this evening. He is in New York on Orange County school business, representing the school district at the Science of Learning Convention. Accepting for Emory is his wife, Linda. Here she is. John will do it.
Coach, get in there. Coach, get in there.
Hold on. I just looked better on this side.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. All right.
Thank you. It's all yours. Let me get out of here.
Please, guys.
Those are mine. Those are yours. That's mine too? You sure?
Don't say any other stuff, all right? Please, Roy.
Okay. All right, let's get another hand to those two award winners. It's my honor to now ask John Gardner to come up to the podium. This is where I hand things off, and John's going to take it from here to introduce all of our Hall of Fame members. John is a 4-year letterman that ran track and cross country. John was also very involved in student government and is a fellow UCF Knight.
Go Knights.
Charge on.
Thank you, Roy.
It's halftime of the Magic Celtics game, 49-59 Boston, if anyone's wondering. All right, guys, how's everybody doing tonight? Thank you for coming out, appreciate it. Sorry we're running a little late, but I would like to first thank everybody for being here, and thank you, Coach Hummer, once again. And Caesar, are you ready to go? All right.
Hold on.
Oh, Mr. Isaiah. All right. Our first inductee into the class of 2025 is from the graduating class of 2015, Miss Sharika Barnett. Come on, Sharika. Arguably the greatest long sprinter in Pioneer history, Sharika earned 7 varsity letters. You can come on up if you want. 7 varsity letters in track and cross country. One of the many highlights of her high school career was being named Girls Track Athlete of the Year by the Orlando Sentinel in 2015. Sharika is both the school and state record holder in the 400-meter run at a 52.67 in her senior year. In addition to being named a 7-time Metro Conference and District Champ, Sharika captured the state 400-meter title her senior year. After first having stepped onto the national scene as a junior, winning the 2014 USA Track and Field National Junior Olympic 400 meters, Sharika's national acclaim and dominance skyrocketed to the top her senior year in post-season competitions as she won the 400-meter title here at the Golden South Classic in Orlando. She also competed in the Great Southwest Classic in Albuquerque and the New Balance National Outdoor Championship in Greensboro, North Carolina. Continuing her career at the University of Florida, Sharika earned a combined 14 All-American honors in the 400 meters and the 4x400 meter relay. Sharika still ranks as the Gators' #2 all-time in the 400. And in addition to her athletic achievement, Sharika was also named to the SEC Academic Honor Roll her senior year. Currently, Sharika is an EMT and firefighter down in Palm Beach County Fire Rescue. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow pioneers, Sharika Barnett.
Thank you, guys. Just gonna keep it short. Good evening. It's an incredible honor to be inducted in the Oak Ridge High School Athletics Hall of Fame. Just a little backstory. When I came here from Jamaica, migrated here in 2011, Coach Morris met my mom in Walmart, and he was like, "You look like you're a track runner." She's like, "No, but my daughter ran track." So from there, they talked about track, and he was telling her what school that he thinks I should go to. He was at Oak Ridge at the time, and because of him, I came to Oak Ridge. Thank God. I had a really good career, met wonderful teammates that became family, the staff, the coaches. They poured so much into me over the past years in college, in high school, that helped me so much in college. The foundation that I built here at Oak Ridge carried me all the way to the University of Florida and beyond. I'm proud to represent Oak Ridge High. I'll always be grateful to the coaches, the teammates, the teachers, everyone who poured into me. So thank you, Oak Ridge High School, for the wonderful memories, the great friends, and yeah, go Pioneers, go Gators.
Yeah, don't drop it. We have the holders for them up here too, so afterwards we can bubble wrap them. Okay, our next inductee is from the class of 1977, Mr. Chris Bono. Chris was recruited as a 10th grader due to his outstanding performance in a PE track meet. So Chris went on to a stellar football and track career, earning 5 varsity letters. He was a 2-year starting cornerback. Chris earned first team All-Metro and All-Central Florida honors, and was a senior and was a 3rd-team All-State participant. He was the first, and like Coach Hummer just said, and one of the only 2 Pioneers in school history to return an interception, a punt, and a kickoff for a touchdown. In his senior year, he was named the team's Outstanding Defensive Back of the Year. Also, a 3-year letterman in track, Chris was a point scorer on 2 Metro, 2 District, and 2 Region Championship teams. He is a member of the 1977 school record and 4th place state championship decathlon team. His individual total of 4,010 points ranks him number 3 all-time still, and was the leadoff leg on the state meet qualifying mile relay team, running a 3:19.6, which still ranks number 10 all-time. Chris went on to play football at Furman University, 4-year letterman, 3-year starter at strong safety. He earned honorable mention and All-American honors, along with being named first team All-Southern Conference. And he was also drafted by the Seattle Seahawks. After teaching and coaching in Florida and California, Chris is retired and living in Kingston, New York. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Chris Bono.
Thank you. I'm honored to be inducted in the Oak Ridge High School Hall of Fame. Thank you everybody for being here. Thank you for everybody on the committee who voted me in. Thank you for the coach who changed my life, Coach Emmer. I met him when I was a sophomore in high school, long time ago. When I had hair. I was talking to my brothers who were here. I used to blow dry my hair every morning. And they were banging on the bathroom door trying to get in. I'm almost done. You know, so, but anyway, thank you everybody, the inductees who are here tonight. Seeing some friends I haven't seen in a long time. My old teammate, Ike Charlton, Isaiah. We both played defensive back and ran track together, and just had a great time. And we were very competitive, and it was just an honor to play sports at Oak Ridge, get to know all you people, and to play under Coach Emmer. He changed my life, and because of him, I'm here, and I just want to say thank you. Good night.
I was eavesdropping on their conversation about AMC Gremlins or something back in, they had matching cars. Woo, you gotta tell me about that one later. All right, our next inductee is from the class of 2000, a fellow teammate of mine, Mr. Antonio Carter. One of the most highly decorated dual sports athletes in Oak Ridge history, Antonio Carter is one of the select few ever to earn all-state honors in 2 sports, football and track. In his senior year, Antonio was named the year of 2000 Oak Ridge Outstanding Male Athlete of the Year. Antonio was a 3-year letterman in football, and he also earned All-Metro and All-County honors as Central Florida's leading wide receiver in total yards. He concluded his high school career being selected to play in 2 postseason bowl games, the Metro Senior Bowl, where he earned MVP honors, and the Dixon Ticonderoga Central Florida All-Star Game. He was also awarded the 1999 Pepsi Golden Helmet Award by the Orange County Kiwanis Club. Antonio was also a 4-year letterman in track, and he was a Metro District and Region 100-meter champ his senior year. His 10.82 ranks number 6 all-time and is a senior class record to this day. His 400-meter relay split of 48.1 ranks him number 8 all-time in school history as well. Also in his senior year, he was the recipient of the Ray Judy Outstanding Track Athlete of the Year Award. He went on to play football at Glenville State University in West Virginia, where he was a 2-time All-American and 3-time All-Conference wide receiver. There we go. He was inducted into the Glenville State University Athletic Hall of Fame last year in 2024. Antonio is married, has 3 lovely children, lives here in Orlando, and is currently the manager of Florida Outdoor Equipment. Ladies and gentlemen, Antonio Carter.
Keep this short and sweet, y'all. Let's second. First and foremost, I want to thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Without Him, none of this would be possible. I was blessed with the talent and the ability to play football and run track, and I've been inducted into the Oak Ridge Hall of Fame. Who would have known but God? I had the honor of being surrounded with a great group of individuals and coaches with both track and football, with some in attendance here, with my brother Nolan, Gabe Andrews, Rashard Battle, Cesar Morales, Andrew Darling back there, of course John Gardner, and my coaches, Coach Farrelly right there, Coach Himmler. I appreciate y'all, man. The memories we created are gonna last a lifetime. I appreciate y'all. I love all y'all. And also thanks to my big brother for always supporting me, bro. Always being there. Love you, boy. Y'all already know. And hold on, my bad. So I've been blessed with 3 wonderful kids. My daughter Destiny, my son Antonio here, my daughter Janaya, she walked out with, oh, there she go in the back. My grandbaby, hey Aubrey, what's up, mama? And my beautiful wife for 18 years, I love you. Thanks for always supporting me. You already know, for sure. Oh yeah, I met her over there too, she's my little stalker, but I love you, girl, for sure. Y'all already know. So,
Hall of Fame?
Say, y'all already know. But thank you, Oak Ridge, to the selection committee. It's a great honor, man. I appreciate y'all. We family, and it's a great night to be a pioneer. I love y'all. Thank y'all for real.
Don't drop the mic. Don't mic drop. I thought I was gonna drop the mic. I was like, man, this is expensive. Coach said we don't have enough money to pay for it. All right. Our next inductee is from the class of 1967, Mr. Carl Dragstedt III. Carl Dragstedt III, also known as Terry to family and friends, was a 2-sport athlete, earning 6 varsity letters, 3 each in basketball and track. In addition to his athletic prowess, Terry, a member of the National Honor Society as well, gave meaning to the term scholar athlete, graduating 17th in the class of 363 with a 3.6 GPA. In closing out his 3-year basketball career, Terry was the captain his senior year, finishing 6th in scoring in the county, 2nd in rebounding, and 2nd in field goal percentage. He earned first team All-Metro Conference and All-District honors. During his 3 years on the track team, Terry was a consistent point scorer in the hurdles as he earned all Metro District Region honors, qualifying for the state meet as a senior. And as president of the senior class, coupled with his involvement with the varsity club in the Interact Club, in the civilian club, along with his membership on the Pathfinder staff, Terry's leadership skills and service to Oak Ridge were instrumental in him being appointed to the United States Military Academy at West Point by Senator Edward Gurney. After the academy at West Point, Terry was the leading scorer as a freshman on the basketball team before moving over to the rugby team, where he started his last 3 years. Terry, who joins his father, Coach Drexted, in the Oak Ridge Athletic Hall of Fame, is being inducted posthumously. Accepting for her dad is his daughter, Miss Jennifer Graham. Ladies and gentlemen, Carl Drexted III and Miss Jennifer Graham.
It's an honor to be here to represent my dad for his induction into the Oak Ridge Hall of Fame. Standing at 6'8", my dad was truly a giant among men. His passion for athletics, including basketball, rugby, and sailing, just exemplified a larger-than-life spirit. I know in high school when other students can't wait to get out, my dad really treasured his time at Oak Ridge. No matter where he went in life, he remembered where he came from and the experiences at Oak Ridge that helped shape the man he would eventually become. The foundation that Oak Ridge provided to my dad set him up for future successes at West Point, as a captain in the Army, and throughout his career. We're especially proud that he, along with my grandpa, are the first father-son duo to be inducted into the Athletic Hall of Fame. So thank you again for honoring my dad, Carl Drexted III, as an inductee this year.
All right, our next inductee is Coach Adolph Morris. Coach Morris is an all-Metro Conference hurdles champion over at Evans High School in the late 70s and mentored by Metro Conference Hall of Fame coach Dick Skelton. Coach Morris has established himself as one of the premier middle distance coaches here in the state of Florida. From 2001 to 2010, Coach Morris was an assistant track coach responsible for the distance runners, including the 4x400 and 4x800 meter relay teams. During the team's run of 4 state championships, 04, 06, 07, 08, his athletes won 6 individual state titles, 3 4x800 meter relay state titles also. He has also coached 1 state record holder, his daughter Lavira, who's here tonight. There she is. Coach Mo, what the students call her at the campus, coached her in the 800 meter run. In addition, he coached a total of 49 individual champions and 13 relay champions in Metro, District, and Region championship meets. During the same time span as a head coach, cross-country coach, Lady Pioneers captured 1 Metro Conference in 2005, 1 District in 2003, and also he has won 5 Metro Conference, 5 District, and 3 Region individual championships. Coach Morris has returned to Oak Ridge as an assistant track coach, working with his daughter Lavira, who is the head coach of both the boys and girls team. Ladies and gentlemen, Coach Morris.
This is not my strong point. I'm a Virgo too, so I have to read from my notes also. Wow, how did I get here? First of all, I'd like to thank God for putting me in this position. Principal Gonzalez and Edwards, I know they didn't have anything to do with me being in the Hall of Fame, but they did hire me on this year to help my daughter out. I'd like to thank the Hall of Fame committee as well. Coach Stamper for being smart enough to hire me. my daughter, Lavera, Fran, my granddaughters, Shan, my mother-in-law for being here all the way from Jamaica, other daughters, Cheyenne and Shanae, Zari right there, my athletes as well. Thank you all for coming. I'd like to thank my mom also. Mom, I know you always tell me that you love me, but the most powerful words you ever tell me, and I know you tell me all the time, is that you're proud of me, and that means a lot to me. I also would like to thank my number one fan, my wife. It's hard being a coach's wife because it's like I'm doing homework, and I remember the days I used to talk with Coach Stamper. He'd go on the throne bathroom and talk to me for hours. So I appreciate you putting up with me, babe. So I'm gonna try to be short. If you see my wife right there doing this, doesn't mean that she's gonna cut my throat. It just means that, like Coach Hammer say, coaches are long, but I promise not to be long, as the pastor would say. Won't be long. All right. To help me out, I like to start off by saying a joke, saying something funny. It was these three guys. One was 96, one was 94, and one was 92. The 96-year-old went upstairs to take a shower, and he turned on the water. Then he thought about it. He said, was I getting in the shower, or was I getting out of the shower? He said, I need help. So the 94-year-old brother runs upstairs, and as he's running upstairs, his glasses drop off. And he bent over to pick up the glasses, and he thought for a minute, was I going upstairs, or was I going downstairs? He said, I need help. 92-year-old brother heard both of them. He knocked over. Thank God I'm not losing my memory like my brothers. Let me go up there and help both of them as soon as I see who's at the front door. Now, if your neighbor's not laughing at a joke, tell them to answer the door. When I got selected for this award, I got denied a couple of times, and I really didn't think none of it because I thought it was just for track. Then I found out that it was for all sports. And I got denied twice, and I got pissed the second time, to be honest with you. It's like taking my ball. I want to take my ball and run. But this time when I got selected, I felt something different. This means a lot to me, getting voted to the Hall of Fame. Now, I went to Evans High School, and I know Oak Ridge didn't like Evans. So that's probably the reason I didn't get selected the first two times. It helps me to tell a story. And I was watching this little kid in church Sunday, and he had a coloring book. And I remember when I had a coloring book, and I used to color outside the lines. And I know the teacher made it positive measures, made sure that I colored in the lines. People always accept you. And I'm telling you my journey, because my journey wasn't easy, coming from a robbery school. And my daughter don't even know. So I'm going to tell my journey in this story a little bit. They always accept you when you color in the lines. But when you color outside the lines, folks have difficulties when you color outside the line. It means that you have an abstract way of thinking. It means that you don't subscribe to a conventional theology when you color outside the lines. Coaches, some people can't handle it when you want to be different. It causes folks to treat you funny and back away from you. Stop answering your phone calls because folks can't handle it when you color outside the lines. I'm a leader, not a follower. I had one of my athletes come up to me and she said, Coach, I think I want to get a tattoo. I said, why? She said, because I see other people want them. She said, why don't you have tattoos? I said, have you ever seen a tattoo on a Lamborghini? She said, what's a Lamborghini? And I tell boys all the time, pull your pants up. No one needs to see your underwear. You don't have to have your pants down to show that you're a man. Kids say, Coach, these kids are different now. You're going to have to coach. I said, I may tweak a little bit, but an old man told me a long time ago, when you pay for experience, keep your receipt, because it's too expensive to pay for it twice. Every time someone try to hate me, I pull out my receipts. When I don't have my receipts, I show the scars that I had 2001, 2002, 2003, when we lost a state title. 2005, when we lost a state title by dropping the relay. I've been through some things. Don't tell me what I can't have, because I paid to get here. I need some coaches that got some receipts. People ask me, how did you win 4 state titles? I said, baby, I paid for it. How do you get so blessed, Coach Morris? I said, baby, I paid for it. Well, how do you get to come back and coach at Oak Ridge after 15 years of being out? I said, baby, I paid for it. I just tell y'all now, hard work pays off, and my daughter made one of the best decisions in her life by hiring me back. Thank you.
Lavere, did you get that on video? All right. There's a mic drop. All right, our last inductee for the class of 2025 Oak Ridge Athletic Hall of Fame is from the class of 1984, Mr. John Thrillkill. John is a 3-year letterman in both track and cross country and the school record holder and still ranked #1 all-time performances in school history in 9 individual distance events and a member of 3 relay teams. One could easily make the case John Thrillkill is the best ever distance runner in Pioneer history. In addition to being an All-American in 1984 as a member of the nationally #2 ranked 4-mile relay team, John was a point scorer on 9 major championship teams, including 1 state, 3 region, 2 district, and 3 metro. Earning all Metro and all Central Florida honors, John was a recipient of the 1984 Dr. Parsons Most Improved Athlete Award. He was also on the 1984 Florida Relays Championship Distance Medley 2-mile relay and 4-mile relay teams, which set the historical achievement of the only school to accomplish that feat in the 80-plus year history of that meet. The highlight of John's cross-country career was his being a member of the first ever Metro and Region Championship teams and the 4th place state meet finish team in 1983. John earned all Metro and all County and all District and all Region honors. His personal time for 3 miles is 15:34 flat, which still ranks #3 all time. Upon graduation, John went on to the University of Florida and lettered in both track and cross country. John and his wife Amy have been married for 19 years and have 4 lovely children. He is currently a building inspector and reviewer for the City of Orlando. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. John Thrillkill.
Good evening. Thanks, Coach Emmer, for the nomination. I appreciate that. Thanks, Benny, for being here tonight, and thank Jaden for breaking my 42-1-year-old record. I appreciate that. I'd like to thank Coach Hammer, Stanford, Trey Wick. They taught us discipline, structure, and toughness, and commitment. They taught me to study the trade, to carry on that knowledge. Hope you find this interesting and a little funny. How old 1984 is compared to today. Bring back some memories. In 1984, a Burger King Whopper cost around $1.60. Coke, 49 cents. This blew me away. Minimum wage was $3.34 back then. Gas, $1.13, bacon, $1.19. Gallon of milk, $1.89. Loaf of bread, 60 cents. Disney ticket, $18 per day. And this blew me away too. Cell phones, the big, the gigantic ones, almost $4,000 you paid for back then. Now, you get them pretty cheap, I think, anymore. Back in 1984, no internet. Most cars didn't have air conditioning. We had fax machines, pay telephones, and every home had a land phone. And the only pizza, or the only thing that was delivered to the house was pizza in the mail. Would pay for a bottle of water? Heck no. We fought that for a while. Go to Blockbuster to rent a movie, tires had white walls. Thanks for the memories. Team memories first. It's always a team effort. The leader of the pack was George. I'm thankful I was able to run with him. And I'm thankful he didn't run the mile, the 2 mile also, he'd have those records. I emphasize Mike Miller. He was our 4th guy. He helped us win that Metro Conference for the first time. We beat Winter Park by 1 point. 1 point that year. There you go, Mike. Oh, there he is. He works the room, doesn't he?
Always have.
I think the 1982 championship team, I looked up to those guys, Coach. They were grown men to me, and they did a marvelous thing winning that state meet. Ken Franklin's not here, but a lot of you guys know who Ken Franklin was. Right. I'll never forget when he anchored that mile medley to win at the state championship. Thank the leadership of Gardner, Presley, and Roll. With a coup de grace, as we all know, is the 4x400 at the end of every meet. Coach Sherman made young men, boys into men. He taught us never to give up. Only high school team to win all 3 distance events, as you had mentioned at the Florida Relays. Hopefully you find this funny. I remember the Burger King coupons, the chocolate bars, there were fundraising events every year. Salt pills, you couldn't do that today probably. Granola bars, and the sticky Ben J that we put on our legs and it attracted dirt, so you just filthed it the whole time going home. Of course, you take a shower when you got home, though. I remember being taped up as a distance runner, which is interesting to me. Thank you. It was very kind. I remember Coach Trey Wick driving the van, which they don't do that, I don't think, today. But Trey Wick and Coach would drive the vans, and Coach Trey Wick would get in the fast lane, and he would drive the speed limit. And then he'd surge back and forth the entire way. And so the goal was to jump into Coach Hemmer's van, but it'd fill up too fast, so you got stuck with Coach Trey Wick. Both coaches took all the athletes home after every meet. Coach painstakingly kept all the splits and provided the rankings that we see today. It's a lot of work. And then I passed that on with the athletes that I coached too. And all the splits. My wife Amy and my son Joe and Amy all can attest to that. So there's always a group, I'm going to end my speech now. There's always a group of outstanding adults who guide children to do outstanding things. Jaden beat the 41-year-old record. At this time, I'd like to pass the distance baton to Jaden. Keep it for 41 years and keep it over. And then my speech. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
bless America, my home sweet home. God bless America, my